Historic day for Thai Motorsport. A Thai rider on pole position for the first time in a Grand Prix. It's Somkhat Chantra who gets away from that pole position. He makes a really good start as well. So did Ayagura, his Honda team age. Look at the rain pouring down on the brakes in the first corner. This is really tricky, treacherous conditions. Ayagura was hesitant on the brakes in the first corner. Chantra sweeps back through to lead.
Pedro Acosta way out wide there on the outside of turn one. This is a real danger zone they're coming into then, into turn three. Look at the lead that Chantra's got as we see the battle then for second place. That's been a good start for Cameron Beaubier, who I think there is up into the podium positions. He's in third behind what looks like one of the speedos. That'll be Alonso Lopez running second.
Is that Philip Salac as well, the Czech rider, moving on the inside of Arbolino, coming out of turn number 3 on the 12 by big aquaplane in there on the gas for Agura as he starts to power towards turn 4. It was Salac. He's done a fantastic start from 12th place. Of course, all these riders at the front, Chantra, Beaubier, Alonso Lopez, they don't have to think about the championship. They've got nothing to lose. They can take the big pump. Beaubier's gone down on the edge of the curve. So many riders now running wide coming through turn number 4. Visibility a major problem. Visibility a big issue there.
These are conditions that you would not want to be racing in these conditions. It is so wet out there. As we look at Canet charging through the field, he's through on Jake Dixon. Canet was 18th on the grid. He's up to 4th already.
I think Beaubier might have been wide on the curbs there and just lost it on that slippery curb surface. There is Salac then in the podium place. He's recovered 9 places already on this lap 1. The Czech rider going for broke here. There is Tony Arbolino, who started on the front row. Arbolino at the moment, he is down in 9th place. Yeah, 8th place now. Look at that, the visibility with the spray being kicked up. A nightmare if you're mid-pack here.
Out wide.
Going into turn 12. Salac runs wide. Is there a way through for Canet? There certainly is.
Yeah, and Dixon's going to take advantage there. Of course, Dixon's no slouch in wet conditions. Agura down to 6th on this first lap. That's the bad news for him. The good news, though, some riders go right at turn 1, is Augusto Fernandez. He's not had a good first lap either. He is down to 10th. They've got, of course, be very careful here. A championship up for grabs.
It's in that first sector where the rain is absolutely horrendous. You're going to be struggling to actually see the rider directly ahead of you here. The spray and the visibility, a major problem. Race direction might have a big call to make here if this rain continues. Fermin Aldegade's crashed out for the 2nd time in 7 days. He was down and out of the podium places 7 days ago at the Motegi circuit in Japan. At the front, though, Somkhat Chantra only 2 seconds clear now, making hay while the sun doesn't shine in front of his home crowd. There he is on the 35 bike. He comes now to this very tricky blind entry turn number 4. Big advantage to Alonso Lopez. Canet there in 3rd place. There is Salac tiptoeing his way through. Chantra's gone down. Somkhat Chantra has jumped out of the lead. Can you believe it? He was just about 2 seconds clear, and Somkhat Chantra, with the conditions rapidly deteriorating here in Thailand, he loses the rear, wheel spin in the standing water. Nothing he can do about that. Chantra goes down. There's to be no fairy tale home victory for Somkhat Chantra. That means your race leader, your new race leader, is now Alonso Lopez. Canet up to 2nd, Dixon 3rd, and Salac 4th.
Hard to be critical of any of these riders in these conditions going down. The rear just came around. He just had no grip. The wet tyres unable to clear the water away for Somkhat Chantra. So down he goes. We heard the roar of the crowd before we saw him on screen. So unfortunately, no home success for Somkhat Chantra. So much water out there on the racetrack, but we've got a number of riders further back who are really coming on strong in this Grand Prix. You just saw on screen there the pace of Tony Arbolino. He is comfortably the fastest rider on circuit at the moment. He's closing in on that
Lopez has gone wide. Sorry, Lewis. Lopez makes a big mistake on the front end going into turn number 5. So easily done, as we mentioned. He manages to stay upright, unlike Chantra and Beaubier, who are ahead of him at the start of this Grand Prix. But Lopez surrenders the lead going into turn 5. Canet now at the front. Jeremy Alcoba's gone down then in the 3rd sector. That will bring out the yellow flags. That was the tiniest of mistakes, wasn't it, from Lopez. Salac fires his Grazini machine on the inside of Dixon. Back into podium places goes the Czech man.
Good work by the rider, Salac.
Yeah, Lopez was only a fraction wide maybe, but he was carrying barely any lean angle when he lost that front end. And I just wonder if that sapped his confidence a little bit here, because Lopez now slips off the podium. Dixon gets through on the brakes in the 1st corner. Lopez led on that lap number 4, but he's now back in 4th place.
He was wide in that final corner, was Alonso Lopez, which cost him those 2 places. So they're in the 55s now, this leading group, apart from Lopez, who did a 56 on that last lap. Once again, the chasing pack behind him closing. It was Agura that time who set a personal best, a 2nd quicker than this group.
Having got back to 4th place, you can see Alonso Lopez, he was desperately just trying to, he couldn't get behind the screen down the straight. You know, good look at the big screen there as well, because the rain in on that 1,000 metre straight is absolutely pounding this Buram circuit.
In these kind of conditions, when it is so wet, you can just gauge yourself and trust the riders in front front of you to see how much grip there is. Here comes Arbolino then, who's been showing pace to come through this leading group at a fast rate of knots, and he started his charge up from 5th to 4th now. Lopez is going to take that back again as they go through the cutback through turns 6 and 7. So it is Lopez back into 4th, but Arbolino is a growing threat in this Grand Prix.
This man, though, unfortunately, you could have heard the groans in Bangkok, couldn't you, 400 kilometres away from this 4.5-kilometre Buriram circuit, because this was the moment where it all went horribly wrong. It had been a great weekend so far for Somkhiat Chantra, but he tips into turn number 4, and the rear just steps out from underneath him in the tricky conditions. He goes a long, long way there through the tarmac runoff. The groans from the crowd, well, we'll still hear those at midnight tonight.
Philippe Salač leads this Grand Prix. Canet was 7/10 of a second clear early in the lap, so clearly he's either made a mistake or just doesn't quite trust the grip underneath him. You can see the rain continuing to buff it down, but for the first time in his Moto2 career, Philippe Salač for Gresini leads this.
Look at that. He gets the power on coming through turn number 11, slides the rear tyre. Supreme confidence by the number 12, attacks Canet on the brakes into turn 12. Canet almost looks aghast there, doesn't he? How on earth has he got the tenacity to make that move? Brilliant by Salač. He leads here in Buriram.
It's all about feel, all about confidence, and Arbolino's got plenty of it. He's dispensed with Lopez, and he's now through on Jake Dixon altogether briefly, because we saw on the last lap he made this move on Lopez and went wide, and on the switchback Lopez got him back. Dixon has done the same.
Canet was out of the seat there, sorry Lewis, coming on the gas out of turn 5, looking for that fast sweep through 6, and Aaron Canet was launched out of the seat of that Kalex machine. He stays on board. The last thing Canet needs is yet another DNF, because that would be game over for his World Championship, having crashed out in Motegi 7 days ago. Canet saves himself there after a scary near high side. Into turn number 4 then, and
Arbolino needs to get on with this. He needs to deal with Canet, because he can see Salač pulling away up the inside into 4. Does he stay clear of the curbs? He doesn't want to touch those curbs in these conditions. He's got the move going now on Canet, so this is now the key question in this Grand Prix. We're coming up to half distance. The next lap will be the 8th of 16. Does Arbolino have the pace to close down the Czech out front Salač?
Still absolutely pouring down outside of our commentary box position here on the main straight.
Such a true supreme sporting challenge of these guys' talent, their ability to feel the conditions, to manage the throttle and make sure that they don't make the same kind of mistake that Cameron Beaubier and Somkhiat Chantra made early in the Grand Prix. That not that you can really criticise them given how tough these conditions are. Salač goes straight on into the final corner, just could not get it stopped. You could see him snaking away on the brakes, and that releases Arbolino into the lead.
That pressure has been building from Tony Arbolino then, and it's Tiger Tony that leads now here in Thailand. Up goes the left arm for Philippe Salač.
He wants this stopped.
Yeah, he can just, well, he's sensing here that the conditions have got to the point where it's not getting safe to continue this Thai Grand Prix. The red flags are out. The red flags are out. Look at the rain down that 1,000 metre straight at the first corner. You can just see there Philippe Salač. That's the crikey, we could not continue signal there. So that race has been red flagged. Breaking news then here in Buriram. The Moto2 race here, a badly, severely disrupted rain race, will not be restarted. Half points will be awarded as 2/3 of the race distance was not completed.
So there's your winner.
Yeah, there is your race winner, Tony Arbolino. No wonder the Elf Mark-Vides racing team are looking delighted. Tony Arbolino then takes a Moto2 victory for the first time. Not in the fashion he would have wanted, but a win is a win.
Second place for Salač, 3rd for Aaron Canet.